The Music Man. Music was the Music Man's life. It was what he knew, what he was good at. The Music Man had spent years practicing, writing, and failing. So many years that he knew what good music was and how to make it. Music was the reason he locked himself in a room with a piano. He would make music. It would be his magnum opus, and it would make him the best. The Music Man hesitantly approached the piano, the way a lion tamer approaches his beast. The animal had hurt the Music Man before, bitten him when he just began to trust it. The notes had refused to come, and when he demanded they submit, they were awkward and dissonant. But that was the past. Dwelling would not make him the best. He was locked inside a room, so he may as well write. His finger had hovered above the keys, a moment frozen in time, where all sound seemed to stop. Then the notes began to move. They came, slowly at first, apprehensively. The Music Man had to work to beckon them from inside, but once they came out, he shaped them beautifully. The initial wobbling of the medley became grassy knolls, looping up and down, high then low. The clarinets dipped, and the trumpets rose and kept rising, telling of the mountain's icy summit. From the top, one could see the world, know of being the best, and see the ocean on the other side. Then the flutes would take us there. We'd hop on the wind and ride it to the coast, where a cool breeze would wash over our faces, and the vast ocean of harmonies would sprawl before us. And close to the coast there was an island, with trees swaying and bees buzzing, and on it there was a lake, and in the lake there was an island, with trees swaying and bees buzzing, and on it there was a lake, and in that lake there was an island, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't write. You can't write. This was the same as before. It's always the same as before. He would live his life as a nobody and die in an unmarked grave. And the tears soaking your pillow will mark your failure, and your sleep will signify your defeat. He dreamt of an island on the lake. On it, he saw an old house, half-painted, a job he swore he would finish months ago. A woman beckoned him towards the front door, telling him of the warm dinner on the table. A bird chirped above his head, and the slow waves of the lake rolled behind him. The trees stood still, calm. He dreamt of being happy. The Music Man refused to write for another 2 days after his first attempt. He believed there was no point, as the notes could not come as they would before. He repeated this to himself, all the while avoiding the crucial question. If he could not write, why was he still in the room? And so, eventually, he did sit at the piano. He stared at the keys for hours at a time, willing the notes to come just as they had last time. But the notes were scared, hurt. They wanted proof that he could shape them into something beautiful, or rather, something complete. Something complete. Something, somewhere, someone. The Music Man's face lit up. He had an idea. He could write. He called for his notes, and slowly they came. First was B, for he was the bravest. Then came E. Soon, they whirled around him, all excited for the glee that covered his face. The Music Man closed his eyes and fell asleep. The water was clear before him, and on a warm summer day, jumping in would be divine. The violins, they were graceful divinity, and their slow, rolling rhythm could portray the waves. And the trees around them, their lull could rock him to sleep in a hammock deep in the afternoon. The flutes, they would help, and the chirping of birds overhead would be the piccolo. He could see it. He was writing. He went further. The house was painted with white with gray accents. The air greeted him eagerly when it hailed, whispering of pine and oak. She called to him from the balcony. Wait, there weren't oak trees on the island. A minute detail, I'm sure, but I forgot. I forgot there weren't oak trees. How could you forget? You always forget. No, the hammock wasn't that nice? No, it wasn't nice if you can't properly write it. This was a terrible idea. No, yes, you can get this far and you fail. You are a failure. You are locked in this room for a reason, and you can't even produce anything worth leaving. It's better off you're here. Don't let the world hear what shit you create. You're incapable. You are nothing. The Music Man spent a month in his bed. He didn't eat. He didn't move. All he did was dream. He dreamed of his little house on the island, with a person he loved and a life that made him happy. When he was awake, the voice inside mocked him, told him of how terrible he was for neglecting his work. So he dreamt more often, avoided more work, and let the voice grow louder. Motivation was what he needed, and there was only one thing that could motivate him now. One more chance, Music Man, and then you can leave. No, He wasn't worth leaving. He would stay here, as this is what he deserved. But every morning, when he woke from his dreams and saw the piano, a part of him knew. It knew that eventually, one way or another, he would go back. To reach the island, he'd have to leave the room. And to leave the room, he would have to reach the piano. And to reach the piano, he would have to leave his bed. He could do that. That step was achievable. The Music Man stood. His journey to the piano was taken one step at a time. With each movement, he focused harder. Intermezzo, the island. Impromptu, the piano. Concerto, the best. Symphony, right. And so he did. He struck the piano with the desperation of a dozen men. The notes did not expect to be strangled so pleadingly, but they accepted their fate. The drums roared and the strings sang, dropping hundreds of feet, the cliff face jagged and marbled. A bird he would be, the wind in his hair, looking over a beautiful city. The rumble of the drum lured him forwards, and the piano told of the people. Louder. He saw a man in the street, dressed beautifully, running through puddles in his tardiness. Louder. A woman crying, mourning her cat. Louder. A man locked in a room. Too loud. The birds scrawling through the scene, picking out faces. Quiet. I need quiet. An old couple sitting on a porch, happy together. Their faces were content. His face was his face, and her face was nothing. Wait, no, that's not right. She had a face. Try a different instrument. No, not the cello. It was the oboe. Why is everything so fucking loud? Can it stop for 1 second, please? It's too loud. I need some quiet. Help, please. The Music Man stopped writing. His hands left the keys, and he covered his ears. The sound was in his head. It was always in his head. He would get it out. Yes, out. Get it out. But the music, no, the music hurts you, and you hurt it. But it's what I'm good at? No, you're not good. You're delusional. You're locked in a room, for Christ's sake. But please, one more try? No, it's still so loud. Can't you hear it? I'll write quieter. It's music. You can't write quieter. I'm gonna write. No, you shut up. You listen to me. No, this is not how it will end. I will not give in. I will tell my story. It will not make me the best, but I no longer care. Her face was shaped in the clarinet with details from the violin. They would play happily as it is what I will have. The house will be a cello and viola and welcoming after a hard day. The harp will sing of flowers in our garden, and the trees will be the French horn. The piccolo can still be the birds. I liked that, but play in F, not C sharp. The lake will roll with the melody, and the bees will buzz from left to right. The trumpets will tell of my joy, and the percussion will parade about how I am not the best, but that is okay. And at the front I will sing. I will sing and I will sing until the voice in my head understands that I am okay, and I'm enough, and I'm exactly where I need to be. The Music Man stood. The papers before him were soaked in ink with scribbled scales and maddened notes. He dripped sweat and tears. The room smelled putrid. But it was quiet. The door was wide open. He could leave. He was more than when he entered, but was he enough? Yes. You've written your magnum opus. You clutch it in your hands and you clutch it close. It tells your story. Music Man, what you have written tells the tale of the best. Leave, and do not look back.